Okay, I meant to have this video up sooner, but I've been having some technical difficulties with iMovie and YouTube uploading videos, so that's why this one's kind of late. So anyway, 2 weeks ago, I went to Pink's All Out with my dad and a few friends from the neighborhood. We got up good and early because the place in which Pink's was being held at isn't exactly very close to where I live. Anyway, because we had gotten up so early, my dad suggested that we stop for breakfast. The first place that came to mind was McDonald's, but my dad really isn't big on fast food. He'd rather go to a regular restaurant, such as IHOP. Unfortunately, every IHOP we stopped at, there was like a 2-hour waiting period, because it was that busy. Eventually, after the third IHOP, we decided to stop at Jack in the Box, which was pretty normal compared to IHOP, in terms of how busy it was. So, after breakfast, we finally made it to the drag strip. But once we got there, we had to find a space to park. Unfortunately for us, we had to park way back in the back. This meant we had a long walk ahead of us to the drag strip, and also a long walk back after the races were over. When we got there, we found out that they were still qualifying the cars, so we decided to look around the racetrack. The first thing we came across were all the food vendors, selling all your typical food items, such as hot dogs, cheeseburgers, chili cheese fries, that kind of thing. But every now and then, I ran across something really strange that they were selling, such as chicken fried steak on a stick. Yeah. But anyway, I think my favorite thing that I ate there was the funnel cake. Now, for those of you who don't know what funnel cake is, basically it's a big wad of donut batter, fried, and then sprinkled with powdered sugar. It's bad for you, it's bad for your teeth, but it's oh so delicious. Other than food, you also had these big tractor trailers full of merchandise trying to sell you stuff. Most of it was things like t-shirts, buttons, pins, posters, that type of crap. But you also had people trying to sell stuff like auto parts and performance street mods for your car. I, of course, didn't buy any of this because either A, I didn't need it, or B, it was too damn expensive. To be honest, I think I spent more money on food and drinks than anything. Anyway, after a little sightseeing, we went back to the races, which they were still qualifying. Apparently, they had a ton of cars to go through. Speaking of the cars, it should be noted that Chevrolet was the dominant brand here. What I mean is, it seemed as though every other car was a Chevrolet of some kind. Be it a Camaro, El Camino, Nova, S10, even the Chevy Love. In fact, the final 4 cars at the end were all Chevys, go figure. But Chevrolet was not the only car here. You also had Ford Mustangs and a ton of classic Dodge, Chrysler, and Plymouth, which also made a good showing. Now, of course, no drag race would be complete without a few oddball cars. The first one was a Chevy Blazer from like the 1980s. Then one of those big Chevy pickups from like either 1953 or 54. I can't really remember exactly what year it was. And you also had a Studebaker, which by today's standards are extremely rare. But probably the most strangest car there I thought they could drag race was a Ford Edsel. Anyway, after all the qualifying was done, they finally got to the heart of the drag racing. And this lasted well into the night. Surprisingly, there weren't any really big accidents or any major problems. Well, there was this one incident when a Chevy Vega slammed into the wall, but it wasn't really serious. Overall, though, I can say I had a good time. Well, there was one downside, other than the high-priced food. I forgot to wear sunscreen, and because of it, I was flaking for about a week. But you know what the really bad part is? By the time I actually decided I need to get sunscreen, guess how much it cost? $10 for a little bottle of sunscreen. Can you say rip off? I know I can.